Eso sí. All right. So let's take it back here. So I have been thinking a lot about how we get tight kind of in our hips sometimes when we're seated. So it's just these taking a little bit of time to sit and then figure out how to move comfortably, get the hips to release, the abdominals and the spinal extensors to engage. So that's a big part of what we do when we sit. So take a second here. Let your palms up. Here she comes. I thought she might. So everybody can take a moment to sit and let your palms rest facing up. And let your fingers stretch out for just a moment. And then exhale, relax, let the fingers release. And we'll just spend a few moments taking some big deep breaths. You can take these breaths in through your nose and out through your nose. And as you do this, watch the movement of your breath. How far, how wide, how low, how deep. And then you can also watch the tempo of your breath. How long can we make space between the inhale and the exhale? Can we let each breath grow just a little longer? So all this just to slow down our rhythms. Take a couple breaths to do some inventory through your body. If you've got a sore ankle, a tight knee, a tight hip, just acknowledge you've had to deal with some stuff today, whether that's physical, mental. And let's take one more deep breath in the stillness here. When you feel ready, go ahead, open the eyes. And let's begin to move our spine. So you stretch as far forward as you can come comfortably. And then exhale, round in your back and let your weight hinge off of your sits bones. And stretch as far back as you can comfortably. So you'll just begin by discovering the range of motion here that your hips and your torso are on board for. You don't have to push anything, you just want to slowly feel out your range of motion. And we're sort of leading with the center today. You can inhale to feel yourself sit tall and exhale to melt forward. Inhale to sit back up nice and tall, and then exhale to round back. So just play with these movements a few times. Inhale, moving forward, and exhale, hinging backward. Inhale, coming forward, and exhale, hinging backwards. So now let's just, with your rib cage, draw some circles. You move all the way around. Just know that these little movements, it's providing a little massage for your organs, sort of moving fluid around through your body. And then when you feel like you've sort of loosened up one way, take those little swings the other way, little circles. Good, and then we'll pause right back there in the center. Sweep one arm, opposite arm to your ear, and then let the neck stretch out one way, so you're making some space between the head and the shoulder. Good, then let the hand come to rest on the back of the head as it floats over. A little more length in the neck. And then inhale, sit it up. Exhale, reach the head back into your hand. Good. And then exhale, release. Come to stack yourself back up nice and tall. Let's try that with the other hand. Hand moves across. And we're going to pull the head over to one side, letting the space grow there in the neck. Good. And then let the hand come to the back of the head. Again, feel space in the cervical vertebra and the neck. And then inhale, take it up nice and tall. Let the head now come rest in your hand. Letting the armpit stretch, the shoulder release, the chest release. And then we're going to inhale, take two hands here back behind the head. Open your chest, reach all the way up. Letting the shoulder blades glide together. And then exhale with the two hands, rest on the head. Your head is folding over. Inhale, now extend the two arms out, and then you're going to make little figure eights through your palms here. So I'm letting one arm come on top and then the other. Good, and then see if you can reverse your figure eights. Not as easy as it looks. Good, let's pause. One hand on top, one palm facing down. And exhale, wring that out just through your shoulders. So one arm, one palm facing down, the other facing up. Good. Your head can move here in up towards that palm that's facing up. Good. And then let's exhale, release. Bring your two palms together back behind you. Feel the chest open. Good. And sort of maybe even move the whole rib cage forward slightly. Different little back bend. And then exhale, release, let that come down. So we're gonna unfold the legs for a moment, move the feet wide, sweep the arms up, and exhale, create a little stretch. Rest your head in your hand. Good, inhale, stacking tall, exhale, come stretch, reaching the other side, just letting the neck stay released here. Let's dive two hands to the middle. In between the legs, let the sternum come forward, and then exhale, let the back round. So you'll arch lift. Good. Exhale, rounding back. Try this a few times. Just again, waking up your back. Inhale, coming up. Good. And we're going to exhale, sweep two arms to the outside. I'm going to my right leg. I'm going to rock and roll my pelvis here. Just a little bit forward, a little bit back. So it's just another cat cow. And again, feeling the hip loosen, release. Good, and then we're gonna open so you'll reach towards the back leg. Same thing, rock the hip forward and back, getting a little release. Good, and then letting the hips drop down, let the weight of the body, the torso come onto the elbows and you'll stretch out the hip. And then we'll inhale, press back up, open the two legs. So now you're in a little Baddha Konasana for a moment. Good, and then again, you can sweep your rib cage, sweep your torso, just a little side to side. Draw a few circles. Circle the other way. And then we're going to come over. So sweeping the arms towards now. This is me going to my left leg, reaching my right leg back. I'm gonna rock and roll a little cat-cow on that one sitting bone. Good. And then from here, we'll open up so the front arm reaches back behind you. And same thing, you'll just kind of cat-cow with the hips. Let them reach forward and roll back. Good. And then from here, we're going to let the two arms lower down and let the hips release. So the femur bones release out from the hips. And then from there, I'll exhale, pull that right back up one more time. This time, I'm going to take my two hands over and come into an all fours position. So now create a cat-cow here. Feel the head and the tail rise up. And exhale, release. Head and tail rising. And exhale, releasing. Head and tail rising. And exhale, releasing. This time, head and tail rise up, and then we'll reach your thighs back and let the head come rest on the floor for a moment. Let's walk our fingertips out. Then press the hands firmly into the floor. And then move your hips forward so you get a big stretch. As the hips lower, feel the abdominals pull up. So there's a little stretch there. Let the head come down, the hips move up. And coming forward just one more time. Good. This time we're going to reach your hips back. And then we're going to gather the weight on your left knee and bring your right foot behind your right hand. And from here, we'll exhale, let the hips move forward. As the hips move forward, feel the knee stay right above your heel. Good, let's exhale, move that weight back and stretch your hamstring. And then from here, you're going to let that front leg move across your body. Take your two hands to the inside of the leg. So now you should feel stretch in the IT band. And then the knee bends and the opposite hip pulls back. You can now, so just stay where you are or lift the hip or lift the sternum bone up as the hips melt down. And then we'll exhale, let the two hands come towards the floor. Forearms maybe come towards the floor, and we'll get a deep stretch in the hips. Good, so you can imagine that left hip bone moving closer towards the floor, the bones of the low back becoming more even on this horizontal plane. From here, we'll push up and reach your back toes into the floor. Send the weight back once again. Another stretch to the IT band. Good. We'll pull that leg back. And now this time, sway the hips just side to side, almost like a slow dance here. Good. And then from there, try drawing a few circles with your tailbone. Circling the other way. Good, and then reaching weight back, pull the left foot forward so it comes behind your left hand. And then you'll move the torso forward to stretch your right hip. Feel the knee line up with your heel. So look at this foot too and put a little energy into the foot, spreading out the toes, the ball of the foot, the heel. And then we're going to exhale and move some weight back. Again, just providing a stretch to the hamstring. Good, and then from here, we're gonna just walk that foot across the front side of the mat so it comes to the outside edge. And you'll walk your hands away so that we stretch now into the outside of the leg. And we'll bend the knee, allow the knee to come in line with the heel, and then this hip bone of the back leg, we're going to roll down towards the floor. Good, stretch, reach up. Good, so I'm placing a hand behind my head that just feels nice and supportive to my neck. To get a little bit of a back bend here. From there, I'm going to sweep and take 2 arms forward and continue to roll that hip bone towards the floor. Good, and now from here, I'm going to push up with my 2 hands and exhale, just unfold my body. So now my legs are in a nice wide straddle. And I want to go back to that loose movement through your torso. So you can kind of almost snake the torso, finding maybe your hips a little more open here and a little more length in your rib cage. So you can bring your fingertips forward now and let the weight roll back onto this, on the back of the sits bones, and then reach forward. So think about this movement as almost like a little massage, ah, in that the tightest little space there in the hips and in the sits bones across the sacroiliac. So now we're going to hold the weight even and reach your rib cage side to side. Again, it's like a slow dance or sway. Good. So you're finding some blood flow through that movement. And then we're going to pause, reaching towards one side. Take one arm up. And again, this hand could support your head. That's just what feels like my neck needs right now. Good. And we'll press up and try that on the other side. And again, the head can support, or the hand can support the head. Good. And from there, exhale, release. Taking the arms up, hug your legs in. I'm going to reach my arms forward, and now I'm in a little cat-cow facing the computer. And once again, just roll, move through the back. So a lot of tightness and tension comes from the way that we hold weight, being on your feet all day long, and all these, again, little movements help to take some of that stress out of your tissues. You're sort of working out the kinks. So now turn tops of the feet down, and we're going to exhale, lift up onto the knees. Let the fingertips drive into the base of your, or it's really the top of your hips. And you'll let the wrists press and stretch across the bones of the low back. I'm gonna now once again sweep my hands behind my head and let my head go comfortably in a little back bend. Good. Exhale, open the arms. We'll take the one leg out. So I'm going with my left leg reaching out. I'm going to reach my body now towards that leg. So the torso comes toward it. Now, if that's feeling good and comfortable, you can then work on bringing your palms together behind the leg, letting your head rest. Getting a little opening in your shoulder. And we'll exhale, sweep that up. Take the opposite hand. So I'm going to take that hand away from my extended leg. And then my top hand behind the head. Lift this leg up. Let it sweep and circle just a hair. Good. And then let it lightly circle the other way. Good. You can bend the knee back and maybe take the hand to the foot and stretch, opening your torso. Let's exhale, release. Let all of that come down slowly. And then we'll try that on the other side. So I'm going to extend my leg out. Good. And from there, try to rock and let the hips release right under the ribs. Inhale, stretch, reach the arms over towards my top leg. Good. And then from here, again, you can try that little trick of bringing the same arm under the leg and hooking the arms. This gets a nice stretch for your shoulder. And then we'll exhale, sweep, bring ourselves back up. Reach away from that leg nice and slow. Top hand can move behind the head, and we'll lift the other leg and just lightly let it circle. And let it circle the other way. And now perhaps let the knee bend, hand come to the foot. And we'll exhale, release. So now you're turning towards the mat. We'll let the head come down. This time let the elbows anchor in. Head reaches in. A big stretch of the hips up. And then we're going to mount the hips into the floor and let your torso come down. So we'll move the elbows right into the shoulders and then maybe slightly in front of. Let the head move down and up a few times. Checking in with your neck. Take the ear towards one shoulder, then the other. So freeing up your neck on this plane. Good. And then turn over one shoulder and then the other. So when the neck feels nice and released, curling your 10 toes in, lift just your knees a few times off of the floor. Try that like 10 times. We were on our knees for a bit, so we're just going to pump a little blood back in there. Good. And then from there, you can press your knees down with the hips up to 3 and then set them down to 3. We'll try that a few times. So the hips come up, they come still underneath the shoulder blades. You feel the abdominals engage and right back in. So front of the ribs, then the navel, and we lift. Then let the hips come down and slowly let the bones of the back melt towards the floor. Try that just a couple more times. Coming up and exhale, releasing down low. Good. Coming up and exhale, releasing down low. From here, bend one knee and then straighten the other. So you're gonna leave the femur bones on the floor, but really deeply connect to the hamstrings and the glutes, just in this energetic opposition. One heel pulling towards the sits bones, then the other. Good, chest stays open. Elbows continue to press down, so you never want to feel that the weight of the torso is falling forward, but we continue to move the torso back. And then take the 10 toes into the floor and the 10 fingers into the floor. And then let's lift up through the elbows, come right back down. Let's lift up through the elbows and down. 2 more times, press the hands in and down and press. So now just let one arm float up and come down. The opposite arm floats up and then comes down. One arm up and then down. Opposite arm up and then down. With the elbow spread out, make a little support for your head. And then lift one leg. And again, you'll let it circle in the hip socket. And circle the other way. Good. The opposite leg lifts, it circles in the hip socket. And it circles the other way. Good. Lift the right leg and then bend and straighten the knee a few times. Good. Exhale, release. It comes down. Left leg lifts, will bend and straighten just a few times. Good. And then from here, let the head come down, sweep the arms onto the low back. So you press, try this a few times. Arms reach out and then they hug the thighs. So the arms come out and hug in. Arms pull out and hug in. Out, pull in. Good. So now hug the arms in, pressing the hands into the thighs. Lift your head and chest up. Try to pull the sternum up, 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 and breathe. Exhale, release. Let that come down. Good. So now you're going to bend your right knee, hand to the foot. And we'll reach up with that arm. Feel the sternum rise and breathe. Exhale, release, coming down. Left hand, left foot. Take a breath, inhale. And exhale, coming up. And right back down. And then 2 hands, 2 feet. Inhale, tuck the knees in. Move the thighs down, hug the navel in. Exhale, lift and breathe. And then we can release. The left arm or your arm furthest from the computer screen will roll onto that side. Now turn the knee so that it is pulling up towards the ceiling. And we'll exhale, bend and straighten this knee a few times. Really aiming to find some stability in the bottom leg. Good. We're going to hold that leg out in the air and then take it down and up. Good. And then with the leg in the air, try a few little circles. Good. Let those circles travel in the opposite direction. And then exhale, see about the hand and the foot fall, moving toward one another. You can once again curl the arm to the inside of the leg. Good. And then foot moves to the thigh, top arm over the ear. Exhale, lift the bottom thigh up. And then set the bottom thigh down and take the top thigh down to the floor. And we'll do a little circle with this arm. And let it circle the other way. From here, that top hand is going to reach for your bottom foot, bending the knee. And then exhale, open yourself up. Just stretch out the psoas. From here, we're going to exhale full. Bring your two knees together and stack your top foot into the bottom foot. Stretch towards your feet. Inhale, take the arms up and then stretch towards the knees. Inhale. So now I'm going to take my two legs out. From here, just quickly do a Paschimottanasana, a little forward bend, and then we'll try that sequence on the other side. Inhale, slowly lowering down. Find yourself facing the computer screen, but on the other side. And we'll start with a bent knee. So the knee comes up. And then we're going to exhale, stretch, and reach the leg out and in. Kind of finding some freedom in the hip socket, out and in, out and in, out and in. Good. So now we'll hold the leg out and lift it. Good. Again, steadiness through the hips, a long reach through the femur bone. Good. Now we're going to hold that leg in the air, let it circle, and circle the other way. Good, and then see about that same hand and foot coming together, so long reach out to the leg. Take another exhale, and then fold at the knee, and maybe wrap the hand to the foot. Just let this leg stretch a little further back. And now we'll move this foot to the thigh. Top hand presses into the bottom hand, lift the legs up. Exhale, release the leg down, take the top thigh forward. And once again, let the back release into this little twist. And the top arm can circle. Again, feeling the blood flow through your shoulder. Feeling the chest open up, changing directions. Letting there be a little twist behind you. Another full big exhale. And then we'll bend the bottom knee, take the hand to the foot, and you can pull this foot back a little bit again to get just a stretch into the thigh. And now from here, I'll slide my two legs together, stack my top foot, tuck it into my bottom foot, and come up seated. From here, stretch towards your 2 feet. And then inhale, stretch, reach away from your 2 feet. Good. So this hand, maybe your backhand maybe wraps all the way around you. And then we'll inhale, take your 2 arms up, press them into the mat and lift the hips, and you'll find a little down dog. Feel the toes reach from the heels from the toes. The calves and hamstrings lengthen from the heels to the sitting bones. Through energy in the backs of the knees, the quadriceps lifted. And then we're going to walk weight back towards your feet. Take opposite hand to elbow and begin a little nod of the head. And then a little sway of the torso out of the hips. And then we're going to bend in the knees. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. Take my hands to my 2 thighs. And try a little cat-cow. Inhale, stretch, reach up. Exhale, rounding under. Inhale, stretch, reach up. And exhale, rounding under. This time, reach the hips up and reach the arms behind you. And then we'll find ourselves up in a standing position. This time, the thighs are going to move back. The arms are going to come up. We'll try just a few little circles here through the arms, moving the thighs back, lifting. Feeling the chest open. And then let's pause, bringing the fingertips up overhead and a big press through your feet. Hands here moving behind the head, chest opening. Good. Exhale, move the hands now together behind your back, and we're going to fold over. Pushing your weight into the feet, coming up. Put your weight, we're going to just rock the weight a little bit side to side. Good. So hopefully as the weight moves into one foot than the other, then you feel the inner thigh and the outer hip on each leg becoming active. So now let's pick up our right foot and then set it down, toe ball heel. Let's pick up the left foot, set it down, toe ball heel. So it's almost like just a slow motion little march in space, getting those steps in. Haha. Good. And feeling the weight move through your foot. Good. So let's now pause with your right leg lifted. Stretch it forward, bend and straighten this knee a few times. So feel each time the knee bends, it comes over the heel and no further. And that's just a good position anatomically for your knee to make sure it stays stable. Pause with the knee bent. Inhale, take the arms up, let the palms meet behind your head. The head move to the hands, breathe. Inhale, the arms move back up. Opposite elbow to your knee. Take 5 breaths. Remember, the knee is going to stay right above the heel. And we'll push into that foot. Find your weight up once again. From here, we're just going to do a little pivot in the feet. And now we're over the opposite leg. So you'll bend and straighten the knee. The knee only comes as far forward as the heel. You push back with the foot. Good. And then from there, let's just hold the bend in the knee. Sweep and take your 2 arms up. Good. Let the hands rest behind the head. Let it go. Inhale, finding yourself nice and tall. Opposite elbow stretches towards the knee. Again, the knee stays right over the heel. And we'll push through the foot to rise back up. Turn all your toes, let them face in. And then move the weight through one leg, then the other. So just light little movement here. Feeling a stretch through the heel, through the knee, the hips. Good. Take the 2 arms wide and then let the tailbone just circle all the way around. So big stretch through the front, the backs of the hips. Let the tailbone circle the other way. And then we'll pause right there in this interval. The thumbs back. And exhale, find a long forward bend. Two hands stretched to one ankle. Pull back with your shoulders. And then we'll take your 2 hands to the opposite. Stay rising up through the kneecaps. And then we'll inhale, come push the weight back in the feet, bringing yourself back up nice and tall. One set of toes turns out. I'm going with my right one. Let the knee bend and straighten towards the toes. So you feel some space opening up in the hip. Good. So now pause with the knee bent right over the heel and feel the heel really anchored into the floor. That arm reaches up. Inhale, we'll reach back and away from that leg. Good. Inhale. Now you'll let the knee lengthen and we'll come and stretch towards the ankle. Again, this hand can go behind the head, provide a little support for the neck. Open the chest and armpit just a hair more. And then we'll push through both feet. Find our weight moving back up. Turn the toes in. Turn the opposite toes out. And we'll bend and straighten the knee. So remember, the knee reaches out. The hip bones pull forward. Bend and straighten when you feel the knee right over the heel. Push back. Good. And then from here, we're going to hold the bend, stretch the arms up, reach towards the leg. Good. A hand could move behind the head. Inhale, pulling weight into the feet, reach away. Inhale, stacking your spine back up, lengthen the leg, the externally rotated leg, coming over, and then once again, a hand to your head if that feels good. And then we'll sweep that arm right back up, push through the foot, and then bring yourself right to the center of your mat. Oh, good. Okay, so now try, I'm going to take my left foot, lift it, open the knee, and then really feel my foot come and press against my shin bone. Take a couple of breaths, maybe even move my fingertips up, out, back together, up, down, and exhale, release, letting that go. And shake and release. And we'll try that with the other leg. So I'm going to lift my right heel, ball and toe. Feel the knee joint moving out and picking this foot up. Knee moves out to the side. And then the arms, again, they can float up. And right back down. And exhale, release, and just let that sway, sway, sway from your body. And now we're going to take the left foot, pick it up, and cross it in front of the right. Lift your two heels. Feel the thigh bones pull together. Set it down. Reach the arms all the way up overhead. And just stretch back. Palms pull together behind you. Stretch and come forward. Once again, pushing into the feet, bringing yourself right back up. We'll change the cross here. So now the right leg comes in front of the left. And we'll inhale, take a moment, feel the balls of the feet spread out as the heels lift, feeling the thighs squeeze together. And then we'll set that down, let the arms come together overhead, reach nice and long. And then exhale, palms move together behind you, stretching up and folding over your two legs. Let's push our feet evenly into the floor, find ourselves back standing, and release the legs and shake it out. So now we'll come all the way back down to the mat. If you want to fold your blanket back out and find a comfortable way down to the floor, I'm going to let the soles of my feet come together for a moment and my head move forward. Let the back release. Inhale, sitting up. Exhale, I'm just going to lightly slide. Move my torso towards the floor. And from here, you can let the legs kind of lightly just pedal in the air. I'll let them go the other way. And let the legs circle and travel the other way. I can wrap the arms behind the legs, let the tailbone rise up. And then exhale, release, put the feet into the floor and lift the pelvis. Exhale, letting the vertebra return to the floor. Open the arms, let the right leg come over the left. The legs fold to the left. Inhale, bringing yourself back up, uncrossing. And letting the legs now move to the right with the left leg crossed over the right. And from here, the legs lift. Let's put the 2 feet together. Open the knees and slide the legs out. And we'll just take a few breaths. Let each exhalation grow in its depth, its expanse, its reach within you. Let each breath grow in its length, its duration, and the time you give it. And after your next exhalation, go ahead, let the fingers and toes wiggle and circle the ankles and the wrists. Draw the knees up over your chest, rock the back. Rolling to one side, we'll press up and find a seated position. And bring the palms together. Bow the head, close the eyes. Your practice is a gift. Thank you very much. Everyone, enjoy your evening. Namaste.